north of Canada. Deep inside a wilderness of jagged peaks and mist-filled valleys, there is a place with a name that sends shivers through anyone who hears it. A place explorers, trappers, and even entire First Nations communities have long avoided. It is said that those who enter may never return, and those who do sometimes come back without their heads. This video contains scenes that some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. That place is called the Valley of the Headless Men. This isn't just the story of one disappearance. It's the story of an entire stretch of land, infamous for death and mystery. Prospectors thought it would make them rich. Instead, it destroyed them. Local legends warned people never to enter, but greed and curiosity drove men forward anyway. What they found was something they couldn't explain, and neither can we over 100 years later. The Nahanni Valley lies in the Northwest Territories of Canada. It's a rugged, unforgiving landscape, sheer limestone cliffs, roaring whitewater rivers, caves that disappear into blackness, and thick boreal forest that stretches for miles without a trail. Even now, in the 21st century, only a handful of people visit each year. The Canadian government has designated it as part of Nahanni National Park Reserve, which protects the land but also quietly acknowledges its deadly reputation. For the Dene people who have lived in the region for centuries, the Nahanni has always been dangerous. Their oral traditions warned of spirits and supernatural beings said to patrol the valley. They believed the land itself was cursed. When white settlers and prospectors surged north during the gold rush, those warnings were dismissed as superstition. But the Dene avoided the valley for a reason. And by the time outsiders realized it, it was too late. The mystery begins in 1908 with two brothers, Willie and Frank McLeod. Both were experienced outdoorsmen, tough and capable. They were chasing the same dream thousands of men had at the time, striking it rich on gold. The brothers entered the Nahanni Valley and were never seen alive again. 2 years later, in 1910, a search party stumbled onto their camp. What they found made headlines across Canada. The brothers' camp had been abandoned, their tent collapsed, tools scattered, rusted cooking pots overturned, and supplies left behind. It looked like they had vanished mid-meal. Nearby, searchers found their bodies, or what was left of them. Both were skeletal, bleached by the sun, and both were missing their skulls. Officially, they had been decapitated. Imagine being one of the men in that search party, walking through a silent forest, stumbling onto the remains of two prospectors you'd heard stories about for years, and realizing their heads were gone. No sign of animals, no evidence of struggle, just two headless bodies. The story spread quickly, and the Nahanni earned its name, the Valley of the Headless Men. The McLeod brothers were not the last. Over the next several decades, more men entered the valley, some searching for gold, others just passing through. Many would not come out. 1917, a prospector named Martin Jorgensen actually struck gold. He built himself a cabin deep in the valley and wrote letters about his success. But 1 year later, his cabin burned to the ground. In the ashes, searchers found his skeleton. He too was missing his skull. 1927, a trapper named Phil Powers was discovered in the smoldering remains of his cabin. Authorities ruled it an accidental fire, but the timing and the valley's growing reputation made locals suspicious. 1945, a miner named John O'Brien was found frozen to death, clutching a box of matches. Oddly, none had been struck. Beside him was another man's remains. Both were, once again, headless. These were not isolated incidents, they were a pattern. By the middle of the 20th century, the Nahanni Valley was considered one of the most dangerous and cursed places in North America. The valley began to terrify people. Locals would not go near it. Prospectors who had once dreamed of striking it rich began avoiding the area entirely. Pilots flying over described strange rock formations that looked like towers, eerie mist that clung to the river, and sudden turbulence that made the air feel alive. Stories grew of giant beings, of evil evil spirits of a land that didn't want to be explored. But if the deaths were simply the result of a harsh wilderness, why were so many of the bodies found without their heads? So what really happened in the Valley of the Headless Men? Theory 1. Human violence. Some believe these were murders, prospectors killing each other over gold. Maybe decapitation was a warning to others. Stay out of this valley, it's mine. But this doesn't explain every case. Some of the dead weren't even known to have struck gold. Theory 2. Natural causes. The valley is unforgiving. Freezing winters, wildfires, predators. It's possible men died of exposure or in accidents and scavenging animals carried off the skulls. But if that's true, why were the heads always the only thing missing? Predators usually go for limbs, not skulls. Theory 3. Indigenous legends. The Dene spoke of violent spirits or warriors who guarded the valley. To them, the deaths were not surprising. The land was cursed, and anyone who trespassed would pay the price. Theory 4. The unknown. This is where cryptid hunters and conspiracy theorists come in. Some blame Sasquatch-like creatures, others speak of feral humans or even secret military operations. And then there are those who say the land itself is alive, a magnetic supernatural force that bends reality and destroys those who enter. Today, the Nahanni Valley is technically protected as a national park. Rangers monitor the area, but even they admit something feels wrong about it. Few people camp there, fewer still go off trail, and even in recent decades, strange reports continue. Tents ripped apart without footprints, unmarked graves hidden in moss, strange lights over the river at night. The valley is breathtaking, but it has kept its secrets. That is the story of the Valley of the Headless Men, a place where gold, greed, and legend collide, where dozens have died mysteriously, and where, to this day, no one has solved the question at the heart of it all. Who or what is taking the heads? Would you dare step foot inside the valley, or would you stay far, far away, like the Dene people always warned? That is the story of Canada's Valley of the Headless Men, a place where history, greed, and legend collide. But I want to know what you think. Was this violence between prospectors blinded by gold? Was it something hidden in the land that we can't explain? Or do you believe the old legends, that the valley is cursed and will always protect its secrets? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read as many as I can, and I love seeing what theories you come up with. And if you enjoyed this story, I've got another chilling one for you. Click right here to watch Something Was Whispering in the Trees, and It Wasn't Human. That one might be even creepier. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and remember, some mysteries should never be explored.